Please.
Take your time. We get this all the time, but it can't be helped. Do you want to try again to state your age?
She's dead. I always knew this would happen.
Oh, you did this deliberately. You planned this deliberately.
I'll never forgive you for that.
But it's true, you're a bitch.
Who's a bitch?
You.
Prove it.
I don't have to prove it. Everybody knows it. It's like 2 and 2 are 4. You are a bitch.
No wonder your husband left you. You dried up old hag.
So Gertrude, age still unknown, is in the Bahamas for a much-needed vacation. And I'm here in this so-called rest home trying to pull myself together. And Pete? Who knows where Pete is? Come in.
You have a visitor, Mrs. Seltzer.
Jimmy.
Oh, must they throw pistachio at you at this hour of the day? Couldn't they wait until evening?
You smell better than your flowers.
My dear girl, I am going to get you out of this if it takes a letter to Washington. Yeah. May I sit down in one of your chairs? From what mortician were they rented? Last time I was in a room like this was when I visited an old aunt of mine in Chicago. She was nearly 90 then and has long since been torn down, but no matter. Well, pet, this is going to give mental health a black eye.
For a long time, I had 2. It was all for nothing. I never did find out how old she was.
Well, while she's in the Bahamas, I'm spreading the word that she's 53. Let her straighten us out when she gets back. But to hell with Gertrude. I want to talk to you. You'll, forgive my prying, darling, because I'm interested. But your marriage is definitely over, isn't it? Or, c'est fini, n'est-ce pas? To put it more elegantly.
I guess it is.
Right. Now I shall proceed to astonish myself. Why don't you take a whack at it with me? You could do worse. Indeed, you already have. I've never married. Not for lack of opportunities. I've had several propositions in my time. Some of them from women. Unhealthy, solvent, and amusing. I shall never beat you. I'm not that interested in women. And I shall make you chic. I'll dress you from head to foot. I'll do something with your hair. I'll make you over. Because you do have possibilities. There'll never be a dull moment. We'll see all the shows. We'll travel abroad once a year, always eating at least as well as at home, because flanking my cookbooks is a shelf full of eating guides, beginning with the Michelin.
Pete always called them belly bettagers.
Please, not while I'm proposing. Well, you'll find everything a woman can reasonably expect in this world. Food, shelter, clothing, and a sort of a husband. Oh, my mother. I have a mother someplace. This will sum up my mother for you. She'd vote for Ronald Reagan for president because any man who had both legs amputated, as he did in that movie that keeps being re-shown, and then went on to become governor of California, deserves our admiration. We'll see her once a year, and we'll phone her every Christmas Eve. Well, I guess that just about wraps it up. Done and done. Goodbye for the present. Now I must go and prattle about us.
Jimmy? Could we make it our secret for the time being?
Of course. Else what would there be to prattle about? But don't breathe a word. One busybody in the family is enough.
Hello, Mrs. Seltzer.
Hello, Pete. How are you?
Now, what the hell are you doing here in Disneyland?
I don't even know for sure. Are you keeping busy? How are things in town?
Well, you know San Francisco this time of year, crawling with Americans. Why didn't you call a man? I looked in your room. I noticed your bags were packed.
Yeah, I'm leaving. I was just taking a last little walk.
Listen, Tillie, we're going to have to be strong. We're going to have to face the cold, hard facts. This separation of ours, it just isn't working out. I mean, my plumber tells me that the pursuit of women is flight from woman.
What does that mean?
The hell do I know? Am I a plumber?
Come on now, Tillie. You can't run around in here like that. Come on. Hey, kiddo, that's... Oh, I'm sorry. Now, that was very rude of you. You mustn't run in between people like that. Oh, I care. You've got to be polite.
You know, this is the first time you've ever cried for Robbie.
Not quite correct. First time I've ever cried aloud.
God, Pete. When I think of all the wonderful things you never said to me.
You should have heard them anyway.
Yeah. I suppose there was a lack in me somewhere. I think of all the times I was so irritated with you. And yet right now, I don't think I've ever loved you more.
Well, love without irritation is just lust. Not that there's anything particularly wrong with lust.
I just realized something about you, Pete. I tried for years to put my finger on what was wrong with you, what your faults were, your flaws. And now it's come to me. You have no faults at all. You're just hopeless. Did you drive up?
Car's up front. Your bags and coat are already in it.
Oh.
What's so funny?
Oh, I was just thinking. Thank God I have Pete Seltzer to see me through the disillusionments of a marriage.
Like your attitude, Mrs. Seltzer.
In the tradition of Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca, Clark Gable and Vivien Leigh in Gone with the Wind, Robert Taylor and Greta Garbo in Camille.
Lovers whose passion ripped across the screen and seared our minds and hearts forever. Now, a man and a woman blazed their way into screen history with a passion that could never be shown before.
It's Mathau and Jackson, and making love will never be the same again.
How much does it cost being a great lover these days?
I don't know. I never stopped to figure.
I am a surgeon, lady. Have you forgotten? Every day we cut people open from their sternum to their zats.
Walter Mathau as the doctor who has suddenly found the prescription to cure every woman he meets.
Thanks for the granola. I loved it.
Thanks for the dessert, Edith. Thanks for the cheesecake.
Glenda Jackson as his very unwilling patient.
That's not nice.
How's your love life?
Well, I find I can take a man out with all the trimmings and get him in the sack for just under $50.
Seriously, Dr. Nichols, what became of the house call?
Art Carney.
Young man, I've got a pacemaker, 10 inches of plastic aorta, and no prostate at all. If I'm elected for another 5 years, the odds are that I will expire before my term will.
Richard Benjamin.
Have you been operating?
Oh, just washing my car.
Thank God.
You broke my heart!
Well, don't worry about it. I'm a doctor. I'll fix it.
Walter Mathau and Glenda Jackson in House Calls. It's a funny love story.